For question number 10, we want to be able to graph the function not by plotting points but by starting from the graphs below. So the function that we want to graph is negative 5 to the power of x. So we need to look at the parent function for that. So which parent function do we have to choose for that? Well, that would be y is equal to 5 to the x. So if you notice here, I've graphed g of x, which is equal to 5 to the power of x. And if you notice, there's 2 points that we can find on that graph. We know that it has a y-intercept of 0, 1, and it also has a point on a graph that's 1, 5. Now we can use that then to graph the function y, which is equal to negative 5 to the power of x. So it's in this form. So we're taking the function and multiplying it by a negative value, which means that it's going to reflect the parent function about the x-axis. And we know it's going to have a y-intercept of negative 1. It's going to have a range of negative infinity to 0. And it's going to have a horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 0 and a domain of negative infinity to positive infinity. So first thing we do know is that it has a y-intercept at 0, negative 1. Then it also has a horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 0. And then looking at the parent function, since we're taking the value of the negative and then multiplying it by the entire function, that means you're taking a negative sign and multiplying it by the value of y. So we're going to multiply it by the value of y in the parent function. So we're going to take our x value, and then we're going to multiply that x value by a negative 1. So we end up getting 0, negative 1. So there is our first order pair. We also have a point on the graph, which is 1, 5. So we're going to take that negative and multiply it by the y-coordinate. It's going to give us 1 and then negative 5. And then what we do is we plot those points on the graph. So now we have 0, negative 1. We have 1 and then negative 5. And then we're going to create those points and then draw our smooth curve through it. So now we can see that f of x, which is equal to the negative 5 to the x power, reflects about the x-axis. And so when we state the domain, again, we know the domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. We know that the range goes from negative infinity all the way to 0. And then we're going to state the asymptote, which is y equal to 0.